A lot of rappers still, it seems like, want to be Tupac. They want to have his popularity. They want people to love them like everyone loves him. But why do you think no one's succeeding?
Well, because this is what they fail to realize about Tupac. In order for them to be Tupac, they would have to die before they peaked. Right before they peaked, they would have to die. So if you don't die, you can't do it. Bottom line, if you don't go die, you're not gonna be the next Tupac, because it ain't gonna be the next Tupac. Straight up.
We can't do that yet, but I bet we'll chill.
Candyman, tell him the truth.
We'll still end up knocking the boot.
Yo, it's me, the original boot knocker, Candyman. And I'm rocking with my homeboy Gab on MAKAVELI Media. And guess what? We'll still end up knocking the boots.
Yo, YouTube, what up? It's your homie Gab. I'm in the building. And this is MAKAVELI Media. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, a guy who had one of the biggest rap hip-hop songs of the 1990s. He ushered in and pioneered a whole different sound into the music biz. Give it up for my motherfucking big bro, the one and only Candyman. What's up, bro?
Oh, man, I got to pay you to introduce me all the time.
Hey, you just stop me when I'm not telling the truth, bro. You know you started all that shit, though.
Hey, man, I definitely changed the whole vibe. My homeboy called it the Teddy P rap, you know?
For those that don't know, this is the guy that did Knockin' Boots. All right, he came in with the jumpers and the melody and you know what I mean, all the slick shit for the ladies. Yeah. Just slick shit when everybody else was going right. You definitely went left, you know. And you come from LA, right?
South Central, baby, born and raised.
Oh my gosh, yo. Now think about that for a minute. That was like, we talking about like 99, 90, 91, when gangster rap was like hitting everybody in the head, coming out of Compton and, you know what I mean, coming out that West Coast area. And you came on a whole different tip. Like, what inspired you to be different like that?
Hey, it's even crazier than that, because Knockin' Boots originally was recorded in 1988 and released on vinyl. So what you got to think about is what kind of hip-hop was going around in 1988. So it was definitely left of what was going on in 88. And I'm on the NWA album cover in like 87. So those are my guys with NWA and the Posse. I'm on the front of that album cover. So it was intentional that I was going to do something different than what they were doing, although I could do that too coming from our environment. But the underground release, where it got a lot of momentum and got to the attention of Lowrider magazine, their first release, the Lowrider Soundtrack Volume 1, that's a song that's 88. Now, the major label picked it up after we gained momentum in 1990. So, yeah, I was just on my own thing, bro, you know?
Yo, I mean, the song was big. It was on the video jukebox. We used to see it all the time. That Two Live Crew, you know what I mean? Knockin' Boots was reigning supreme, man. That Vanilla Ice, all that shit was bumping at the same time. But you had the biggest joint, man. Knockin' Boots was crazy. Had the Betty White sample, Tonight's the Night, you know what I mean? And you just did your thing on.
No, I'm saying it's funny that you would say that about the box and all of that, because, we held down when they had the rap charts on the Billboard. I actually had broke a record for that time period. And a lot of people don't remember the rap charts, but there was a rap chart on Billboard magazine, and Knockin' Boots, I think 8 weeks or something crazy. It's Googleable, but it was the longest running #1 rap song. And of course, it crossed over and went top 10 pop record as well on Billboard on the pop charts. But the thing was, to break the rap record with that kind of song, I ended up getting the record broken by Salt and Pepper. And I believe, I don't remember which song, maybe Express Yourself or one of those. But yeah, I was proud of that, because it still was hip hop, no matter that it crossed over to the pop chart. So that's just something I wanted to mention.
Yo, it hit in all different types of lanes, man. That was a big song, man. A lot of people don't know this about you though, but it's dope that you introduced Johnny J into the whole rap game. Now,
Absolutely.
a lot of people may only know Johnny J from working with Tupac. So
Right.
It's only right if we started from the beginning. Now, before I get into where you first met Johnny J at, when did you first start rhyming? And we're going to lead into that.
Okay, well, poetry is where I started rhyming. So poetry, third grade, is when I won an award for a poem that I wrote called The Beautiful Black Girl in my elementary school, which was, I believe, Woodcrest Elementary or something at that point in time. I went to 3. But what happened was they didn't believe they didn't believe I wrote this poem at that age. I don't know if you're 8 years old or around that age, and they didn't believe at that young of an age. They thought I plagiarized the poem. So that was how advanced I was with, like, you know, creativity and the gift that God blessed me with. So, you know, at that point, my mother always brings that up to me. Like, you know, she would tell them, I don't even think we own any poetry books for him to get it and steal it. You know, this is just what he does in the room. So that's when So that's where it came from. It stemmed from poetry, always with poetry, always, you know, West Coast, we were into the dance, you know, because the influences of Soul Train in the neighborhood. So as a kid, I'm doing the robot and pop locking and, you know, Michael Jackson, James Brown, all of that stuff. So music, you know, poetry, dabble with instruments growing up, anything that I could get my hands on, a guitar. I ended up playing bass guitar in school. So it was always music, dance, just all things entertainment. So when hip hop came along, I was like, oh, this is too easy. This is 2 of my loves outside of dance. 2 things combined, poetry and music. I'm like, oh, this is too easy. So I knew that was my lane, along with all of the dancing and stuff that took. I just been in it. I was born before hip hop was manifested into a thing. So as it came along, I'm like, oh, this is what I do.
And the rest is what they call history.
Absolutely.
Now, bro, how did you meet Johnny J? How the hell did that happen?
That's funny because Johnny went to all the same schools I went to. We didn't know it, kind of saw each other in passing. Johnny went to my elementary school. We lived literally around the corner from each other. So that's how we met. Later on, I don't think we really connected because he was a year under me. We connected in junior high school, but I knew of him because of our neighborhoods. You know, I'm on 104th Street. He's on 103rd. So I have to walk up my block and then make a left, you know, and pass his house on the corner, you know, where he grew up. So, you know, I would see in passing Johnny all the time. And he was Mexican and I'm black. So, you know, Johnny, basically his story is, you know, the family that raised him, his father's black, his mom's Mexican. So he was a hip hop kid. He was a person that grew up in the culture from the gate. But in junior high school, we went to Henry Clay. I went to 2 junior high schools. I was notorious for getting kicked out of school for whatever reason, fighting or something crazy. But I was bused to Audubon Junior High School from the gifted program. At that point, they knew what it was. And my mother didn't really want me to get skipped up. She's like, yeah, he's gifted and smart, but his behavior's crazy. So that didn't work. So she's like, you're going to go right over here to Henry Clay. At Audubon, the funny thing is I was in the vocal ensemble with Montel Jordan at Audubon High School when I got bused.
Whoa. So we got Johnny J, Candyman, and Montel Jordan.
Montel Jordan was
Montel Jordan was school, huh?
No, Montel was at Audubon, but after I got booted out of Audubon, Johnny was at the local school, which was Henry Clay.
Oh, okay. I get it now. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happened. But I did have that experience of, you know, when Montel blew up, he was like, you don't remember me? And I was like, you know, I kind of do. And he's like, bro, I was the tall, awkward kid in the vocal song. I say, okay. You know, so I said, all right, so that's really what it was. So I went from Audubon, and then I went to Henry Clay, and at Henry Clay is where Johnny and I were both in the band class. So we took band together on drums, and that's how we really met for real.
So what kind of guy was Johnny?
Johnny's funky, bro. This is what I'm trying to tell you. We on the drum selection over there in I think it was Mr. Spencer's class at Henry Clay. Johnny was breakdancing, playing drums. I mean, Johnny's part of the culture. No ands about it. So the talent was there. That's why we ended up connecting, because the talent was there, the dancing, and Johnny was breakdancing. Johnny was hitting windmills and all kind of shit. That's what people are. I'm a funky ass Mexican, bro. You know,
that's crazy.
Bless the dead. I know the development. A lot of people don't know the development stages because they weren't there. So me personally, I haven't spoke a lot about Johnny because, you know, when somebody passes, everybody want to get theirs in, and you know they got all the stories. But the beginning, the initial stages, that's the Candyman years. So after being in the band together, then we connected, and I would go over to his house where he had a drum machine, a little Dr. Rhythm drum machine, if people don't even remember that drum machine. And we'd hang up a microphone on the wall and, you know, grab some of, you know, his parents' or his old records. And we would, you know, we would do our thing. Early, I'm talking about early, we was early on the hip-hop bug. Teenagers, youngsters.
So how did you guys come up with Knockin' Boots? Because Johnny produced that, correct, right?
I produced that with Johnny. And me as a producer, that was me. I'm the one that selected that part of the record. And what I did with that record, a lot of people wasn't doing, is I left the vocal part in there and had her humming like we were doing the song together. So that because I love music and vocals and all of that, that portion of the song where she's humming stood out to me. And so I had my guy, which was a whole different guy that I took that record to, Michelangelo, which Michelangelo ended up going to school with me as well. I got to give him his props, Michelangelo, and another guy named L.A.J. in L.A. He ended up producing a lot of things, John Barnes' son. So my story is crazy. Everybody that grew up in L.A. that I hung with, we all made it at some point in our careers. So I took that over to them and told them the part I wanted to loop up. And that's what was the game changer. And then later on, when I reunited with Johnny, we came in and he put some drums on top of it. And the rest is history. But I knew me and Johnny was going to connect and work extensively. So it was just, you know, produced by Candyman and Johnny J.